All right, all right, all right. Welcome to our Builders Call. Um, I am I am so grateful, so fired up. Was that awesome activity call? Like Andy's call was just rocking, man. And uh, you talk about a lot of good stuff, man. I hope y'all take notes. I hope you buy the books that he recommends. Those books were instrumental books in my coming up in the business. And gosh, what I've been in this business, geez, in November, it'll be 16 years. Um, in November, that's when I got in, November 1999. So, or is that 17 years? However that works out. Anyway, it's so weird to think I've been in that long, and the things I've seen, it's been pretty incredible. Some of you have been with us, 6 months. Some of you on the call have been with us, 3 years, 4 years, you know. And what's interesting is I look back and, I always wondered what it would be like when I could say I've been in this business 17 years or 16 years or 20 years. I mean, you ever think like the looking back part, like looking back on what the last 16 years have been like, and then excited about where we're going from here. There's always that, like if you're, look, if you're really in this thing for the long haul, that you really are saying, man, this is for me. This is what I'm going to do with my life. This is, then you get to have thoughts like that. Like you get to dream and imagine, where am I going to be at in 5 years, and how am I going to think about the last 5 years that I spent building and investing my time, energy, my time, money, and emotion into something that is meaningful for me. Like Andy said on an activity called, the two important days in your life is the day you were born, and the second most important day of life is realizing why you were born, okay? Why you're on this earth. And man, that's no true words can be said. I think the theme of this call, this conference call, is trying to figure those things out. Like why are you here? What is important to you? Why is this business worth it? What are you trying to accomplish? What can get you through all the tough stuff? And you might be listening to this, and you might be in a kind of a precarious situation in your life. You might be going through some kind of struggle. There's just something that you feel like is holding you back from all that you could be. Well, let me break the news to you that you will always feel like that. That every point of the business is, how can I be better? Because I feel like something's holding me back. And you're trying to figure out what is holding me back. But the only way to figure out what's holding you back is to continue doing this business and moving forward past whatever those things might be. Sometimes it's not even worth it trying to diagnose it. Sometimes you spend all your time trying to diagnose what's holding you back instead of doing the work to get you out of what it is. It's not as much diagnosing it as much as having the dream to move forward and to continue on past the struggles, right? And I think that's the most important part about when you're building this business, is to know that we're all in a continuum, right? Because the definition of success is what? The progressive realization of a worthwhile dream or goal. Okay, the definition isn't the attaining money, attaining a car. Success isn't measured by winning a gold medal. It's a result. The success is putting the work in and doing the work and struggling to get that goal, to get that gold medal. When you look at it, once you got it, you can hang it around your neck, and then, okay, got that done, what am I doing next? It's like the great story about Nick Saban. Nick Saban only spends one day to rejoice in his national championship victory, but the next day he's plotting out and planning for the next season on attaining the same goal. He doesn't revel in getting the national championship only but for so long, but his life is one of continuing on, because his purpose and what he wants to do and why he was born is to help young men put together a team to attain the ultimate goal in the college football, which is the national championship. Now, does he mark success only by winning the national championship? His success is the process. He revels in the process of getting there. He revels in the overcoming of challenges to get there. That's success. Success is the progressive realization. In other words, it's enjoying the process along the way, even through the struggles, going towards something that's meaningful and worthwhile. And what's interesting is that every day, every step along the way, it's success because you're overcoming, and you're overcoming to become. When you think about everything that you've gone through, made you what you are today. You're here, you're listening to me. Okay, so number one, I totally congratulate you for being here listening to this, listening to me talk about this kind of stuff, because you could be working a job out there and not listening to stuff that will hopefully, tweak you to get better. Maybe make an impact on you to move the next step forward, right, towards what it is you want to become. What Matthew Kelly talks about, the best version of yourself, what God wants you to be, which is the best version of who you are. See, you were born, and that was God's gift to you. Well, what you become is your gift back to God. And his dream is for you to be the best person, the best child of his. Like, for example, when one of my victories, these little victories, is my son, Athen, we dropped him off at University of Cincinnati last week for his first, it's only an hour away, thank God he's close, for his freshman year. And then Saturday, it was Wednesday, and then Saturday was his induction into Air Force ROTC. So the parents and our son, Athen, we had this briefing, and then they took the cadets out to, do some stuff with them away from the parents. And little did we know, we did not know this, but they had a number of scholarships, full ride scholarships to give out based on the performance of these new inductees. Like I think there were 30 people that were inducted, men and women, girls and boys, whatever. They're young adults, right? And so out of the 30, there's probably maybe 25 that showed up. So the 5 that didn't show up didn't even have a chance to compete for these scholarships. And here's the cool thing. No one knew that they were being evaluated for these scholarships. Everyone entered in that room, and they had no clue that they had these scholarships to give full ride, full tuition, full books, and board for their first year in college, to just hand out based on the performance those few hours. It was like maybe 5 hours of time. So the 5 people that didn't show up didn't even have a chance to compete. And so there are 25 left. And so they took the cadets out, and they were evaluating them based on attitude, based on leadership, even the little short things they did. In fact, little did we know, but later we found out that when they took the cadets out, they were teaching them, military decorum and how to march and how to stand at attention. They also did leadership exercises, okay, kind of similar to what Jeff Bright does at our national conferences. And so they took them and put them in groups, and they asked, so who wants to lead this next exercise? And then my son, just like without hesitation, hey, I'd like to. So number one, he volunteered to lead an exercise. He didn't know there was anything in it for him. He just knew that if he volunteered, well, he's just a leader. He really is a leader. He's grown up that way. People are attracted to him. People want to hang around him. He's kind of like, he does stuff and people want to follow him. And he was like a camp counselor all summer. So just that whole idea of volunteerism, without anyone telling him, he decided to lead it. And I found out later that he did a great job. The exercise was, leading a team. They were all blindfolded, so they couldn't see. and he was supposed to get them to do something. And apparently he did a great job. The other thing he volunteered for was his hair was already short. I mean, really, by Air Force regulations, they were short enough to be in regulation. But out of the 25 that were there, they offered haircuts. So that if you wanted to, they didn't really care if you did or not. And so they offered haircuts. And there was the other cadets, the upperclassmen had the shavers, you know. And when he said, yeah, I'll go ahead, there's only 5 of the 25 that volunteered to get their haircut. So when he got into the chair, the guy said, this is the first time I've been doing this. And Athens going, oh my gosh. So they took this, they cut his hair short, not short like this, but well, I guess maybe it was short like this. I got my hair cut just recently, just because sympathy. I was sympathizing with my son. I wanted to be with him. So after, you know, this week I got my hair cut. So it's like military style, high and tight. But anyway, so he's got his head shaved, got real short, not real, you know, buzz cut, but it was like not much, you know. And I was really proud of him. I didn't know he was going to do that. I mean, I found all this stuff out later. So there again, there was another thing that he did that made him different than the other cadets that just showed up, right? What else did he do? They emphasized in Air Force ROTC to volunteer for everything. And he volunteered, they did, you know, kind of different activities. You can do extracurricular activities outside of Air Force ROTC you can get involved in, right? And he volunteered for every one of them. There's a Bible study, there's Silver Wings, there's a thing called Arnold Air Society, there's drill team. There's like 5 things, and he signed his name up for everyone. He just wanted to see, hey, I want to get involved. So we found out later that they were going to offer these scholarships, and they'd let us know. It's like, seriously? And I found out my son was doing all this stuff. And then I found out later that Sunday he volunteered to put cushions on the stadium, the football stadium. He spent like 4 hours with the other volunteers, other cadets to go out there. Well, sure enough, Monday he calls me at noon. He was excited. He goes, Daddy. I go, what? He goes, they called me in the office. I go, okay. And he said they wanted to offer him the full ride scholarship because of his performance on Saturday. And he was so jacked up. He was so excited. I mean, you know, it's worth about $25,000. We would have paid for it, like, for sure. But, you know, I mean, when you think about the stuff that he did, it just taught me so much about what, I don't know. I don't take credit. I don't try to take credit for anything. Just that we raised him in a godly environment. You know, we raised him in an environment that, you know, that I've been influenced in by Andy Albright and the Alliance and the things I've done in building this business over the last 16 years, that maybe when growing up in it, because when we got into this business 16 years ago, it was like 2. It was 2 years old. So literally, he grew up with me in the business, growing up in the business, right? So I was there for his baseball games. Because I had my freedom to be at everything that he was at. I was involved in his Cub Scout den, and then I later became a den leader for my other son's Cub Scout den. So I was heavily involved in everything that he was doing. And so because the Alliance allowed me to be involved in his life, I'd like to think that maybe that environment that I grew up in the Alliance environment, and being free to be able to do those things with him, maybe influenced him to make these independent decisions. You know, Andy Albright says that leadership is doing what you should do with no one telling you to do it. And Nathan, my son, showed me every quality of what a leader does. He volunteered for things. I didn't tell him, you should do this. I was not one of those parents. I just said, hey, he did it on his own. I couldn't be more proud for him to get that. And I give the credit to God and his infinite wisdom to lead me into this business. I give credit to Andy Albright calling me, for being moved to call me to come into the business. I give credit to not quitting, okay, making it through the struggles I've had to make, and my son observing me. See, people are watching you, especially your children. My son watching me chase a worthwhile dream or goal so that he knows what he needs to do in order to chase a dream in his life. I'm hoping and praying that that's why it's what the environment gave me. It's what Andy gave me. It was my dream to be able to influence my son like that by me chasing my dream, by giving him an example. And so by doing that, I'd like to think, wow, what an opportunity you have in your hands. Because I think about what it is you're trying to achieve in your life. When you are struggling through the struggles, people aren't watching you to see if you made EVP or team leader or key leader. People are watching you if you're doing the work and struggling through what it takes to get there. When you get there, it's a byproduct of everything that you've done and everything you've struggled through and the person that you've become, right? And so as I watch my son becoming the man that I dream for him to be, and the dream for me to watch him become better than me. I've always wanted my children to be better than me. Like, I'm 5'8"3/4. I was 5'9" until I started to shrink. It tells you how old I am, man. And both my sons are like 5'10". You know, Ethan did his physical fitness test, man, and he killed it. And I'm just like, golly, man, they are better than me. I want them to be so much better than me. And I think, wow, well, if that's my dream, think about God's dream for you. He wants you to be better than who you are. He wants that for you. And so I think of this business as a way to be able to accomplish those things once you figure out why you're doing this. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you spending an hour with me on this? You know, like, listen to me talk about my son. I mean, why are you spending your time here? And I have to say, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for wanting to get some extra stuff in your head, to maybe get moved by something I might say about some mistakes I've made. I've made a lot. Lord have mercy. Like you said, I don't take credit. I mean, I talk about having one of the largest teams in the Alliance. Our hierarchy and Fitz's hierarchy are like neck and neck. We're both the two largest groups in the Alliance. And like I was saying on our conference call yesterday, I really take no credit for that. You know, we might have maybe half the people at the Instant Thunder are people in our group, because the Levitovich team was there and Cater's team was there. And I don't take credit for that. I only take credit for getting in when Andy said, hey, Mo, I found a way to make money. I said, yes, that sounds good to me. I take credit for saying yes. Okay. And then the only other credit I take is for not quitting. And listening to Andy Albright. So maybe there's three things. Saying yes, okay, not quitting, and listening to Andy. And I've not always been the best at listening to Andy, but I've tried to. And the times I've listened to him the most, I've made the most money. And the times I've listened the least, my income went backwards. So what do you think my incentive is? So purely, gang, that's the only credit I take. I mean, all the folks in my organization, I love you and I'm fired up for you. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you got a bike group. You could have gone into other groups, but God led you here. So maybe there's a reason for that. I take that responsibility in a very humble way, because, you know, God knows I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve any of this. So everything's a plus for me. I'm grateful for everything. So that's what I would hope that you would realize, that as long as you persevere, don't quit, and listen to Andy Albright, then I think you're going to be way better off in your life in general. Because I think Andy's blessed with this ability to kind of talk into you what God wants you to do. I believe he prays for that, that he would live his life by funneling God's will in your life. And I look at my life that same way, that my prayer every day is that I may speak into you what God wants you to hear, not what I want to say. I don't care it's not important what I say, it's important what God wants you to hear. So I'm always praying that I'm a vessel, that I'm a clear glass to amplify his message to you, not through me, but through me, but not messing that message up. So that's my hope, and I appreciate all the struggles you've been through to get to this point where you want to make a meaningful change in your life. So, you know, it took guts, to get you here by getting into a 100% commission business, right? I think it's pretty powerful. Now, one thing that you got to understand is that when you look at building this thing and you look at everyone around you, when you go to each function, leadership conference that just ended, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, then we have national conference. And if you are in here long enough, you're going to go from conference to conference. You're going to meet some great people. But at the next conference, you're not going to see those people. And then you meet some new people at that conference, but you go to the next conference 6 months later, and you're not going to see those people. Like, there are going to be people that get in, they thought they had the vision, they thought NEA our Alliance was going to help them get it, and then something along the way took them out. Could be situations, negative situations they couldn't handle. It could be a negative spouse. It could be other negative influences. It could be life. It could be a whole bunch of things that took their eye off the ball and took them out. And you're going to be going, man, they were so cool. I thought they were going to make it. And then you look at yourself in the mirror and go like, man, thank God I'm here. Thank God I'm here to see the people that didn't make it and see the people that did make it. See, the beautiful thing about functions is not so much people you don't see, but the people that you do see and continue to see to be at the same functions as you. So sometimes you're measuring. So if you're brand new, you're going to measure, well, so-and-so's not coming to the meetings anymore. I wonder what happened to them. Or I wonder why so-and-so's not coming to that meeting and they must have quit. Oh my gosh, is this thing going to work? Man, you're going to be filled with doubt. You're going to wonder, will this work? Will this work? Well, let me clue you in on something. The divorce rate is over 50%. All right? The divorce rate's over 50%. So I ask you, does that mean marriage does not work? Because more than 50% of couples who entered in the state of matrimony, a sacramental marriage before God and before everyone, a sacrament that you can administer to each other, and you bind yourself in a lifelong relationship before everyone, especially God. And more than 50% of those fail. So does that make marriage a bad thing, right? I went into the Air Force Academy. 1,600 cadets. We graduated with less than 50%. I think we were a 55%, a 55% attrition. So it's about the marriage. It's like marriage. So what's interesting about that is no one ever told me that, and I didn't care about that. See, when my wife and I got married, we didn't care that the divorce rate was over 50% because we made a commitment that we're going to be the 45% that was going to stay married. We made that commitment. When I went to the Air Force Academy, I had nowhere else to go. That was the only place I would have gone. It's the only place I applied for, and that's the only place, because it was a free scholarship. I didn't care if the attrition rate was over 50%. Like, our class was one of the highest attrition rates. I knew I was going to be there for a reason. I was going to make it. I already made up my mind I was going to make it. I don't care how tough. And I got hazed for like 3 hours when I entered our squadron as a freshman. 3 hours hazing, where they had me at a brace. We call it, at attention. They had like an index card under my chin, and they had us, like, me and my other freshman buddy, this third degree cadet at sophomore, just had us at a brace and was slamming us against the wall. Was doing. I could have quit, but I didn't. I couldn't quit. More than 50%. So again, does that make the academy a bad place to go to school? No. I mean, how many of you went to college and you found that other people didn't graduate with you? Probably the attrition rate is probably similar, if not more, right? People drop out, people whatever. So does that make it a bad business? See, I think when you measure the alliance by the people who quit, well, then I think you're not looking at it right. Because, how many people go into marriage successful that think, hey, if everyone else is quitting marriage, then we can too. In your back of your mind, I mean, you might as well just not get married, because obviously you don't believe in it, right? It's like based on belief. So when you come into the alliance, don't measure success by the people that quit or the failure rate by people that fail. Measure the success rate of the people that are still here and the lifestyles they're able to achieve by not quitting, right? And when you kind of look and pull their lifestyles, I'm not talking money and cars. I'm talking about the joyful aspect that these top leaders in our company have, because they're sharing their lives with other people. They're pouring into other people to help them realize their dreams and goals. There's something magical about getting around these top leaders in our company because they're giving themselves away. You might be faked out by their houses and cars that they drive. Okay, but don't get faked out because the joy in their heart, the joy in Andy Albright's heart. Like, does he care about Ferraris and planes? The reason why he cares about Ferraris and planes is because he wants you to believe that you can have those things. He doesn't, if he drives a pickup truck, he's cool with that. But he wants to inspire you that those are things that you can have and are a byproduct of pouring into other people. So don't measure this business on people that fail. Measure it on the people that are here, that are making something of themselves because they're struggling through the same stuff you're struggling through, right? So let's talk about the struggles. When you think about struggles in your life, man, there are basically three categories of struggles. There's money struggles, and of which I am all too familiar with. Money struggles, okay? Man, I remember those days, right? You remember those days where you give your credit card to a waiter and you're just praying to God that it runs through and that he doesn't come over and lean to you and say, "Sir, do you have another card?" Like, I've been there. I know exactly what that's like, right? So there are money struggles. There's relationship struggles, right, with your spouse, with family members. And then there are health struggles. Health struggles. So let me ask you, what can you do about health struggles? Like if it's health of a child or health of yourself or health of your spouse, man, you can be there for them, you do everything you can for them, but it's out of your control, really. Now, if it's your health, there's some aspects of that is in your control. But man, when you think about health challenges and relationship challenges, maybe you have a negative spouse, maybe you have a situation at home that just is not conducive to building this business, right? Struggles are struggles. I'll tell you what, when it comes to a money struggle, man, I'm really almost grateful that I would rather have a money struggle than the other two, relationship or health struggles. So like, if that's all you're dealing with is a money struggle, man, get on your knees and say, "Thank you, God." You know what I mean? It's like, be grateful for whatever struggle you're going through, because those are the things that will help you become the kind of person that people want to be inspired by. People get inspired by critics. You got people that tell you, "Man, that you still in that insurance thing? Man, why are you still in that thing, man? Obviously it's not working. Like, I don't understand. Why don't you just get a real job?" Like, how many of y'all hear from family members, why don't you just get a real job and so you don't have to go through all this crap? And they're going to start picking at you. The naysayers, the people that want to sty out to you. Susceptible to the negative influence of other people. That's what sny out means, okay? You're going to have to struggle with those kind of people in your life, and you got to learn how to move past them and realize, man, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it because I've got a dream. You have a dream. If the dream is big enough, the facts don't count about your situation. If the dream is big enough, every mountain becomes a molehill. Every large obstacle becomes a speed bump. Because you're focused not on the struggle, you're focused on the dream. And when you can look up instead of down, when you can look up at where you want to be and what you want to become instead of down on the struggles, man, ain't no big thing. Those things, not a big thing. Because your focus is where it ought to be, what God wants you to be. It's what you want. It's what you think you deserve, what you want for your families, right? See, these people, these non-dreamers never understand you. And here's what I would say is, man, you never want to understand them, okay? Hold on. You never want to understand people without a dream. You never want to be able to relate to that. I don't relate to them. I don't relate to them that just go home and live a life of quiet desperation only to wake up the next morning to go back to their job hoping that they can retire someday. Man, that ain't no way to live. So thank God you have a purpose while you're here, you know. What's the toughest thing in the business? The toughest thing is not physical. The tough thing is mental. It's up in here. This is a thinking man, thinking woman's game. And all the struggle's up in your head. Like when you think about struggle, this too shall pass. What are you going to do? What do you do about things you can't control? You can't do anything about it. See, all you can do is what you can do. Okay? Now here's the thing. The person that wakes up and decides, this is what I'm going to do with my life, what happens is you pop your head up among your peers, and what happens is that now they can start throwing tomatoes at you. You pop your head up and you try to be something different, and just be ready, because things will come your way. Things will come your way to pull you down, to pull you back. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's called stasis or equilibrium. Like, you ever try to lose weight? What happens is your body wants to keep you in stasis. It wants you to keep you where you're at, because it's like this survival instinct in your body to keep you alive. So if you stop eating because you want to lose weight, your body interprets that as starvation. So what it does is it slows down your metabolism. It increases your hunger to increase your calories, and it slows down your metabolism because it's like, okay, your body's thinking we're going through a famine, okay, that I got to adjust so that I can keep you alive. So that's what's going to happen. That's how your body tries to stay in equilibrium. And it's hard. That's why it's so hard to lose weight, because you got to change your habit, and then you got to change your body's response to your change in habit. And your body will start listening to you once it knows that you're persevering and that you're going to reduce your caloric intake. And so it starts getting rid of the fat stores, and then you start losing weight. It's going to react, but it's only going to, your body's only going to respect you if it sees that you have the resolve to do it. Likewise, when you pop your head up and say, I'm a dreamer, Andy, I'm a dreamer, I want a better life for me and my family, well, then everyone around you, all your friends and family, are going to try to pull you down to get you back to where they're at, because you make them uncomfortable, because they're afraid that you're going to outshine them in what you want to accomplish in your life, and then they're left with looking at themselves in the mirror, and it's like, why am I still here? Like, so-and-so became something, but I'm still here. Trust me, you think Andy don't have those people around him that, he left them way in the dust, and they're going, man, so they react by, all he cares about is money. They always try to justify to themselves why it was okay for Andy to get out of their little mire, right, of their friends, but Andy decided to change his group he was hanging out with, right? So be ready for it. But if you're ready for it, if you've got the result and can you pass that, then you're going to be rewarded, because then you're not going to get that crap anymore, right? And you know what? There's a lot of naysayers out there, but look, it's all mental. How do you handle it up here? It's all up here. So why do you think that we get you around all the things we get you around? You need to protect this. And how you protect this are the books you read, the people you hang around, the things you listen to in your head. You have an eye gate and an ear gate. That's the only two filters you have to take input. So when you input in you the good stuff, then only the good stuff will come out of you. Like Neva Quabain says, what you put in the well is what the bucket will bring out of the well. So when you put the good, positive stuff in your head, you're going to pull out good stuff to give to other people. See, that's what you're doing here. We get you involved in reading books because reading books will help you put good stuff in and keep your attitude right and keep your mindset on track with what you want to become, right? The functions that we have, instant thunders, national conference, leadership conference, the conference calls, right? Every opportunity at the hotspots to get around positive people. That's another environment that you put yourself in, to be around people that are like-minded, that are going where you want to go to better their lives, instead of getting around your friends that keep pulling you down, right? I don't call those people friends anymore, man. I call my Alliance family my friends. They're my family, all right? I love my biological family, and I do stuff for them and with them, but I'm more focused on my Alliance family because they're the ones that keep me going to where I need to go in this thing. So that's why we have functions. Okay, we have our association. Every chance we can get around Andy Albright, like you look where he's at on the hotspot schedules, and I go where he's going, right? Because that's where you want to be. So you create this environment for you to protect your attitude and protect your struggle. So, man, yeah, you'll be frustrated. There'll be things about this business that will just totally mess you up, right? There'll be things about this business that will mess you up in the way that you're going to doubt yourself. You're going to like think, can I really do this? And here's what I would say to you, is that when you are in that low point where you're wondering if this is going to work, when you're thinking, I can't take another no, I can't take another 68-year-old on the phone yelling at me, I can't take another door knock where they shut the door in my face, I can't take another chargeback, okay? Here's what I would ask you to do, is that I would ask you to reevaluate where you are today and the things that you have, not the things that you're struggling against. And Andy covered this last week. So take kind of this checklist and write this down, because this will keep you kind of in a state of being focused on what you're trying to accomplish in your life. Remember, this too shall pass. All these things are temporary. All the struggles are temporary, and it will get better. But then when you get to a destination, not the destination, because I think the destination is being with our Father in heaven, with our Father in heaven. That's our ultimate destination, that everything along the way is a step towards there, even with the tough stuff. So like what Andy talks about here is he says, look, ask yourself these questions. So when you're at your lowest, even when you're at your highest, keep reminding yourself, what am I happy about now? Let's focus on that. Well, I'm kind of depressed because, that chargeback walked out my whole commission this week. Okay, let's put that on the shelf. Tell me, what are you happy about now? See, the power of asking questions is it stops you in your tracks, and you go into the mode of answering those questions. So, like, write down, like, take your pen out right now. What are you happy about right now? What are you happy about right now? Like like I said, I'm so proud of my son, Athen. I can't help but call him up. I don't want to stalk him or anything, but man, it's how'd it go today, man? Tell me what you did today. I just want to be involved in his life. I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy. I'm happy about all our children and what they're accomplishing. But right now, I mean, every time I think about that, I'm so happy. So what are you happy about right now? What can you find in your life right now to be happy about? There's always something to be happy about. Second question, what are you excited about coming up? Tell me what you're excited about. Let me tell you what I'm excited about. So, okay, so I was thinking about this. So I've got two agency managers, Mike Leventovich and Patrick Connors. Okay, they're more than agency managers, but Mike and Noel Leventovich, Patrick and Susie Connors. And then outside of that, I've got three legs that are on track to go key leader. Okay, and then I've got a whole base shop of people that are kind of wanting to get here. I've probably got 3 or 4 legs that are wanting to get to the point where these folks are at. Now, if you look at that structure, when these three folks break key leader, they got momentum, they've got the right people, they've got unique recruiting agents, and they've got unique recruiting legs, all of them. When I look at that structure, that's a VP structure. Okay? It's just let the clock tick. Let the clock tick, it's going to happen. And then beyond that, when I've got these two go AM and I got another key leader, then that's EVP. Now, I went kind of contract-wise, I'm an EVP already, contract-wise, from our previous promotion system. But, under the new guidelines, I'm not yet. So I'm striving to help more people. So what are you excited about coming up? I'm excited about that coming up. It's like, woo, I'm fired up. I'm excited about Thanksgiving with my family. I'm excited about Christmas because we're going to be given more gifts and giving away stuff. I'm excited about so many things. There's so many great things coming up. I'm excited about seeing John Maxwell. I got invited, there's only a handful of us got invited to see John Maxwell in Georgia with Andy. I mean, think about how much it costs to get John Maxwell there. And here we are getting like Andy's paying for our rooms and food and everything. We just have to get down there. I'm going, oh, Lord God, thank you for inviting me. I must be doing something that Andy sees in me, somebody to invest his time, energy, and effort in. His time, money, and emotion, right? His time, money, and emotion. And man, I'm just excited about that. So what are you excited about coming up? What is something you're looking forward to? What are you proud about now? What things can you say, man, I'm so proud of? Okay, I'm not talking pride in the sinful sense. I'm talking, what can you be proud about? I'm proud about my daughter Zoe in New York. That even though she's mentally struggling up there in that she's in this big place by herself, she's got friends. The summer's been tough because she's not in school. She loves school. She can't wait for school to start, which should start, I think, in the next few weeks. But she was struggling during the summer. She was trying to get a job at Starbucks, and I can't be more proud of her just making it. She's just making it. She's struggling, but she's making it. And, we as parents don't want our kids to struggle, but you know what? Thank God she's going through the struggle. Because I want to know what she's made of. I want to know that I gave her the toughness of struggle, of persevering through struggle. I want to know that we raised her in an environment that through our struggles, we persevered. And I want her to learn struggle. So as much as I hate seeing her struggle, I want her to persevere through the struggle because I know it's going to help her become a stronger person. And if she's going into acting, man, you got to be a strong person to go into the acting field, film acting in particular. But man, so I'm proud of her. What are you proud about? Are you proud about your children? Proud about what your spouse is doing? Are you proud about your business? Are you proud about people in your business that are making, advances, making kind of that aha moment? What are you proud about? What are you grateful for? To me, that's the ultimate question all the time. It's one of our core values is what are you grateful for? Make a list of things you're grateful for. Man, I'm grateful for my son Athan getting that scholarship because that's like $25,000 that we don't have to pay. And I can invest that money into other things like, my business or whatever. I mean, I'm grateful for my faith. I'm grateful that I can go to church every morning and that I have the ability to go to morning mass and praying. I'm grateful for just realizing, God in my life and putting everything I have into that relationship. And I was thinking about it today. It's like, man, I feel like I've really advanced, but I'm not anywhere where I can be satisfied. I'm not satisfied, but that's something I'm proud of. Is that it's the most important thing for me is to realize God's always number one. So it's not the fact that in the objective sense, you putting God number one. God's already number one. It's just you realizing that He's number one. Okay, this is what Paul Roberts was saying, and I think it's like so apropos. God's already number one. You just have to realize that He is, and when you do, then everything changes from there. So you put Him as so I'm grateful for that. So what are you grateful for? Next one, What are you enjoying about your life right now? What are things that you are enjoying? I tell you what, I enjoy taking my daughter to school. She can take the bus, but that short time that I have her in the car with me, I enjoy that. Kind of in a weird way. This is something I really enjoy. I'm grateful for it, but I really enjoy that. I enjoy right now our third car. It got busted up because my daughter got in a collision. She rear-ended somebody. She's okay. They're okay. But I'm really enjoying taking my two kids to high school. So I take them to high school first. I come back, get my daughter, and take her to school. It's just, I really enjoy that. I mean, there's something about that. I enjoy my conversations with my agents. I mean, I enjoy the opportunity to help them out. Something important to me. So what are you enjoying in your life right now? I mean, can you just stop and smell the roses for a little bit and just enjoy what it is about your life that you can enjoy? What are you committed to right now? I think a life lived without commitment is a life that is a life not worth living, right? What do they say? An unexamined life. Who was that? Socrates. You got to be committed to something. I think commitment. It starts with commitment, which will then lead to your actions to become. Right? You are becoming. So what are you committed to? I'm committed to my relationship with my wife. I'm committed to lead my children by showing them an example of what a father should be to chase his goals. I'm committed to the alliance. I'm committed to the people on my team. I'm committed to Cord Goodson. I'm committed to Karen Musil. And I'm committed to that crazy Eric Martin's team of all these youngins that are getting into this thing, pouring into this thing. I am committed to Bill Buck. I'm committed to all the people on my team. I mean, I pray for you, all by name too. I can rattle them off, man. Boom, 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 boom. And that's why I spend so much time in prayer, but I'm committed. I'm committed to just being a better version of myself. I'm committed to that. I'm becoming a better man, a better husband, a better father, a better child of God. I'm committed to all those things. What are you committed to? What is important in your life that you are committed to, that you're willing to give up things, sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice for? I think a commitment is not a commitment unless you're willing to sacrifice for it, right? If you're not willing to sacrifice for it, then I don't think that's a commitment. It's just a wish. It's just a want. But it's a commitment when you're willing to sacrifice for it, right? I think Christ was committed. Do you have any question that Jesus Christ was committed to our salvation because he got on the cross for us? What are you committed to? And then, who do I love and who loves me? Who do you love in your life and who loves you? Well, the first person in my life is my Lord. I love him with all my heart, my soul, my mind, and my strength. And I know he loves me. There's no question in my mind that he loves me. And everything I do is to worship him because he loves me. Because I don't deserve it. I'm sinful. I don't deserve that love. But everything I'm doing, man, is to show him that I love him. That's the first one. Then you can think of your spouse, my spouse, children. Who do you love and who loves you? Man, when you go down all these questions, when you're feeling like the lowest of low, and you go through this exercise, I promise you that you're going to come back and realize, you know what, you've got so much in your life that you can leverage, that you can stand firm upon to move forward. See, because when you're down and you start focusing on all the crap, all that stuff goes away. The enemy puts that in your head. But when you kind of clear the mist and realize the strong foundation that you stand on based on answering these questions, then maybe you can stand tall, lift your head up, and look towards the dream that you're trying to accomplish. And when you do that, man, it all changes. Your life will change. Everything will change because one more day that you're in it to win it. One more day that you're going to step forward to what it is you want to accomplish. It's just one more day, man. We want you to stick in one more day. even after you go through this exercise every day, right? Every day. So anyway, let me end up with this. I did this in Greensboro, and this is really kind of a culmination of a lot of things for me as far as everything I'm talking about. Is like, who do I want to be? I want to be the best version of myself, and I wanted to articulate it in a way that would be meaningful to me down the road here in the future. Now, in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, oh gosh, what is his name that wrote that book? Totally escapes me. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I know I'll remember it here. I know you're probably screaming at me. But anyway, in chapter 2, he talks about, what do you want people to say about you when you die? Like when you pass away and they're at your funeral and the eulogy is being read about you, what would you want people to say genuinely about you? And ultimately, that's who we think we want to be. That's the best version of ourselves, is answering that question, what would you want people to say about you at your funeral? Because you're gone from this earth. Your legacy is what you've left behind. Your legacy are the memories you left behind of people and your children. And so what I did is I wanted to trick myself, and I didn't want to make it to when I die. I wanted to do it sooner. So what I did was I pretended what I want my daughter to say about me before she was walking down the aisle when she gets married. And the way I kind of envisioned it is she would give me this letter before we would walk down the aisle to give her away for marriage. What kind of man do I want to become for her? And so what I did was I imagined, what if she wrote a letter to me on her before we walked down the aisle, before I would give her away to marriage. So it's really the similar exercise. And so this is what I came up with. And this is ultimately the man that I want to be. And so I'm going to read this letter to you. It always keeps me focused on the goal. Dearest Daddy, well, it's finally here, the day you give me away in marriage. I wanted you to read this before we walked down the aisle together, because I could never tell you this in person without crying and ruining my makeup. And you know how much you pay the makeup artist to do my face. I want you to know how much I love you, not only because you're my daddy, but for the person I have become. You showed me how much you love me through your example and the role model you became for me. Because you made sacrifices before I was even born to bring mommy home from work, to be with me full time, I learned that I'm important to you and I am a priority in your life. Because you were free to go to all my basketball games, tennis matches, and piano recitals when my friends' daddies were too busy at work to attend, I felt confident that no matter how well I performed, you would always be there screaming for me and supporting me. And I'll always treasure that ice cream cone we had after the games to tell me how great I was. Because of your strength and faith in God and his son Jesus and how you live the gospel every day, I learned that I'm also a child of God made in his own image, and that I have value because of it, value enough for Jesus to give his life for me. Because I saw you give yourself away to others, driving miles for people, some of whom never really appreciated all you did for them, I learned that there's value in others who deserve the same opportunity I had in having full-time parents. I also learned that when you serve God's people unselfishly, you're not only blessed here on earth, but you're also store treasures in heaven. Because I saw you tithe and offer the first fruits of your labor, I learned that my source is always God, not a job or even this business, and that by giving away more, you receive more in abundance. You taught me that you can't outgive God. Because you gave me a godfather and godmother and Uncle Roger and Aunt Maureen, strong in their faith and unswerving in their convictions, I learned to always seek the truth through the Holy Spirit's guidance. Because by knowing the truth, it will set me free. Because I saw you say, I'm sorry to people with big egos who are in the wrong, I learned humility of spirit and the ability to forgive 70 times, 7 times. Because I only heard encouraging and uplifting, positive words come out of your mouth, I'll learn how powerful the spoken word is and how to be a blessing to everyone I meet. Because of the way you love Mommy by your words and your actions, and the way you treated me as a lady worthy of the highest respect, I learned to respect myself and expect that from every gentleman I have met. Because you taught me that a man should have vision, honor, integrity, character, and faith in God through Jesus, not by words, but by your actions. Today, I will marry the man of my dreams because he is just like you. Remember, you'll always be my daddy, and I will always be your little girl. I love you, Daddy. Zoe. So that's the man I want to be. And I would ask you to do the same for yourself. Who do you want your children to say about you? Who's the person that you want your friends, your people that are closest to you, your children, your wife, your husband? What do you want them to say about you? And so that's who I want to be, and I continue to strive to be that person. And thank God for this business, because this business allowed me to help me realize that. So anyway, I'm done, gang. Hope this helped. God bless, and let's rock and roll. Take care, buddy.